Yo, what is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be explaining every single Marvel Rivals character, and in this one we're going to be looking at the DPS class. So in my other video posted yesterday I explained all the strategists. Today we're going to be looking at more of the DPS roster. So let's start off with the Punisher. He is basically the soldier of Marvel Rivals. So Marvel Rivals, it's pretty complex, right? Like if you're coming from Call of Duty, but if you are coming from like a more traditional shooter, this might be the character for you. So he is hit scan, he has an AR on his primary fire, and then he has a shotgun on his secondary fire. You can switch between them by pressing 1 and 2, or by like rolling your mouse down. So also another tech to know, notice how I have 3 out of 8 ammo here. If I switch to my primary fire and I shoot, and like I shoot, right, and I have 10 ammo here, if I switch back I have 8 ammo, even though I started with 3. So that is a nifty tech to know to maximize your ADM and just get the most damage possible without having to reload. Another thing is that his passive, if you do this, you can see I can still see it for a brief second, like wall hacks. Like you can see the wall hacks right there. So that is his passive. His right click is just a smoke grenade, and it does work with his passive, so it's pretty good to combo. His left shift is for repositioning. So if I left shift right there, left shift, alright, you can left shift right there. And then you can also spam F to climb this. So let me like climb this. Yeah. And it's basically like a Pathfinder zipline from Apex Legends if you've ever played that. Okay, so let's go to his E, right? So his E is going to be like a turret. Yeah, let's start the turret here. So yeah, his E is going to be like a turret, kind of like becomes Bastion, right? And he has up to 200 ammo on this, and it's pretty good for bunkering, right? And then you can get out of the turret too. So his Q is basically like Mauga, like he just becomes Mauga. So he shoots out like rockets and he does extra damage. Like he has 2 ARs now, so he basically like shreds enemies, right? So he just becomes like Mauga close range from Overwatch 2, where he can just do left and right click at the same time to burn you down. So who I'd recommend for is if you're like new to the game and you want to play DPS, maybe you've never played a hero shooter, great pick. He's really good at bunker comps, so like if you want to like a bunker down maybe, and great pick for those coming into COD, like I said. And yeah, he pairs very well with Rocket Raccoon, because Rocket Raccoon and his passive team up is that if Raccoon presses Z on him, he gains infinite ammo and increased firing speed. So he gains basically even more DPS. So yeah, good combo there. If you guys want to like cheese out free wins, pretty strong character overall because he is hit scan. So let's move on to Storm. So Storm, her passive is that you can just permanently fly. And then if you press Control, then you can go down. If you press space, you can rise up. Pretty standard FPS controls. And okay, so she's basically kind of like Lucio of the DPS role. So you see like this white aura, it's a tornado. If I press shift, it turns into this blue aura, which is lightning. This blue aura increases damage, so like let's do this. And this thing, white aura, increases movement speed, so let's do this. So as you can see, there's slightly more damage here than here. Yeah, so this is less than 3 ticks. That's exactly 3 ticks. I see that. Yeah, but I do move faster here, and this also grants the effect to all allies, so it's pretty good to be kind of more supporting DPS. He's strong. So now, if you press E on this, it grants even more movement speed, so as you can see I'm moving side to side faster. And if you shift, then it summons down lightning on the attack boost mode. Right? So not only does it boost your attack, it also summons down lightning to help get like assist. Her M2 is just like a burst damage ability, so it does a bit more damage. If you charge it, I'm pretty sure it does even more. Let me actually try this. Yeah, so it does slightly more damage at the cost of it being a harder to land ability, whereas you can kind of just like spam this from like wherever, especially if you're like high up in the sky. And her Q is like modern Orisa ult, where you basically just suck in people.
Of the goddess!
And yeah, let's do this. So you suck in people and just do damage to them, right? So that's like modern Earth build. So one I would recommend her is that she's a good all-rounder. She's not the best at anything, but is very good at supporting your team. I could see her like being used in like more brawl comps where like you need the movement boost, especially combined with like other movement boost characters in the support class, and also like her damage boost is pretty useful as well. So yeah, play her if you want to like enjoy that type of playstyle, and also if you like certain assets. Let's leave it at that. Yeah. So let's move on to Hela. So Hela is hit scan. Really satisfying character. Not the hardest to aim with because she's hit scan. And her passive is, except for falling slowly. So yeah, this is like me normal, and this is me holding space to fall slowly. Except for falling slowly, her passive is that if I kill someone, then on her death, this is like an explosion that happens, and it deals burst damage to everyone else that is caught up in that explosion. So her shift is good for repositioning, so she becomes a bird and can reposition. And yeah, it's good for like getting out of like sticky situations. Her E is kind of like an Orisa pull, so it pulls to that. It pulls to that. And it stuns and brings the enemies closer to it, basically. So like the original Orisa pull from Overwatch 1. So it's good to like maybe combo with like another ult, like Iron Man Q or Scarlet Witch Q, which we'll cover later.
Perfect.
Her right click is good burst damage option.
I want your soul.
So yeah, it explodes on sight, and this also does explosion damage to like everyone else. So like if there are multiple grouped up teammates, you can just throw that in there, and it will deal that much damage to like everyone. And then you can just do damage, like just left click to kill them. So let's watch that again. Yeah, barely that combo. So her Q is like Ilari from Overwatch 2. So let me actually just get it. Yeah, so she starts flying up, and she can just, basically shoot out rockets and stuff.
6 in a row. Way to go.
Yeah, so basically becomes Ilari for a second. You're not immortal during that. I have killed Ilaris while they're ulting, so make sure you're using it in a safe position. Let's see. So when should you pick her? She's a good hit scan character if you're coming from like hit scan background. She hits like a truck, right? It's like, as you can see, she just wow, I can't take today. She just like melts like people, right? Very quickly. Wow, I really can't take today. What the heck? Yeah. So two tapping like squishies with headshots.
That's 3.
Yeah, wow, I'm like so used to projectiles now that I'm just like not being able to aim hit scan. But anyway, yeah, useful in like kind of all comps due to her repositioning tool on shift and her passive being really good. Especially like say like you kill someone and like they're in the middle of like someone else, that also deals explosive damage to them. Or you shoot this, they're like in the middle of a team fight, and it explodes, deals damage to everyone else. That also deals damage to everyone else. So if you're like trying to push into like a tough choke, then really good character for that. So should probably be used in Brawl a lot. So she is like really good against comps that like to group up. So against Bunker, maybe with Brawl, like I said. And play her if you find her fun. Yeah. Let's move on to Black Panther.
I am king of
So
my people.
he
God
is
of our
more
gods.
of the Genji of this game. Don't let people like convince you that like Spider-Man is the Genji of this game or whatever. Like I feel like this guy's more Genji than Spider-Man is. So his passive, it allows him to basically wall climb, right? And then he gains a double jump after he wall climbs. So I think this is one of the fastest wall climbs in the game. So you can definitely use it as an escape. Yeah, so you can kind of like just like do a bunch of movement text like that. Anyway, let's get on to his main thing. So he's a melee character, first DPS melee character that we've seen. So as you can see, his damage output's not great. We'll get to why soon.
Know your limits.
His right click is an AoE skill shot. So please never ever do this. Like, that is the worst possible thing you could ever do with this character. You always want to do this. Because that hits both of them. If you saw that, like, that hits both. Always do this, because what his character requires is for his targets to be marked. So how do you mark people? You have to hit them with the spear or your E. So as you can see, they have a kind of reddish purple outline now. So what this does is that if you dash through them, it resets the dash cooldown. Now, as you can see, they weren't marked there, so it did not reset the dash cooldown. But if I mark them and then dash, it resets the dash cooldown. So that's why I say he's more like Genji, because of the dash resets, right? So this guy's not marked. I have an 8-second dash, but then if my dash is back, let me just do this. I mark them, and now he does this, and then he does this, and like since they're still marked, I can do this again, but they're not marked anymore, so I died in that situation. So he's a pretty hard character to use because of that. How you mark people, like I said, is with this, with your M2 and your E. So his Q is a good AoE burst damage thing that marks all enemies. So let's do this. So yeah, that marked all enemies. I can just do this.
You were not blessed.
Double KO.
So that's basically how you play this character. He does have a combo, which is your right click into E, into shift, and then like you can finish with
Double KO.
your M1.
Enemy approaches.
Or you can do M2, so like something like this, into this, shift, M2, and then just like
You were not blessed.
or yeah. So pretty technical character, as you can see. You have to definitely know what you're engaging into, and you obviously don't do anything to tanks. You have to be engaging their squishies, and 1v1ing people that are already low. But he's pretty fun character as well. So he's technical and hard to play like Genji, and I haven't personally seen much success on him in my games. He usually just ends up feeding, or I usually end up feeding and playing him. Because really, if you want to play dives, then Magik is much better. We'll get into that why soon. But yeah, he is very fun and technical. So if you can one-trick him and become good, he'd really stomp a lot of games. But I can't really recommend him much. But he would be really good along with a Magik, for example, in a very heavy dive comp. Maybe you have a Venom, Black Panther, Magik, Luna Snow, or something like that. So pretty good character in those types of comps. But can't really recommend him overall. Yeah. So let's move on to Magik.
If you see
So
my brother,
this character
him I
is
miss him.
the actual Doomfist of Marvel Rivals. And I'm talking Overwatch 1 Doomfist, right? So she's a melee character again, but she does have much more range than Black Panther. I don't know if you can do some weird hit both of them like you can with Ryan swings from Overwatch,
double KO.
right? By moving the camera angle weirdly. I don't know if I've found success doing that. But yeah, so she's also a combo character, much like Doomfist. So what you do is her shift is good for engaging. So you shift, and then you either have the option of Eldritch World or Demon Range. So let's go on with the easier option first. So Demon Range does this. It summons a kind of window to kill the enemy for you. Kind of as a distraction while you're also meleeing them down. Now, her shift into left click does this. A whole swing that does AoE effect, right? Now her E is an uppercut like Doomfist. It dashes towards them and uppercuts, right? There's no marking on this character or anything. She's just a purely combo character without any of that. So her M2 normally summons this kind of airstrike that damages them. So as you can see, you might be starting to craft some combos in your head. So you do this into sorry, I messed that up already. So you do shift into left click, into uppercut, and then like finish with that. So that's your basic combo. If you want to like be a bit more technical, then you can do shift into left click to uppercut into this, like, you know, figure out when to like hit the right click with, or maybe engage with the right click already up, and then like, you know, you can do something like this into this into this, and then that also like kills them. But as you can see, very Doomfist like from Overwatch 1. Because, you know, if you remember his combo as well, it was like slam from high ground, then uppercut, and then like melee or shoot melee, and like, you know, punch out, basically. So, you know, same thing here. You shift in, uppercut, melee, and then shift out, and then you can like shoot, summon a demon behind you to like, you know, protect you from engaging. From them engaging. And then your Q, all it does is that it empowers everything. So, you know, you have much more range on everything. Let's try doing this. Yeah, so just like that, also like almost one shot basically. Here, let's try it again. Yeah, so that basically one shot, right? It's kind of crazy.
Double KO.
I'm pretty sure it also like increases, decreases your ability cooldowns. So yeah, pretty good character. Good with dive, but can also solo carry, right? So that's like the main thing in this for this character. She's good, really good with dives. Like maybe you have another Black Panther or like a Spider-Man, but she's very good solo as well. Like she just dives onto her squishies, and they can't really do anything about it because she has 250 health, and also her passive overheals her. So let's see this, right? So now she has 280 health, 300 health. So she literally gains HP, just like Doomfist did in Overwatch 1 for landing his abilities. She's very consistent, unlike Black Panther, so she does have a really easy combo gameplay loop. So although she's a bit more combo heavy and technical, she's not as technical as some of the harder characters in this game, like Black Panther or Spider-Man. So if you're looking for a good, fun melee character, I'd really recommend picking her up. If you can bait out cooldowns and stuff, like you know, Mantis Sleep or Luna Snow Freeze, then you know you're chilling on this character. Really fun. Next, let's move on to Iron Man.
I never had kids.
Iron Man,
But I did have
his
adventures.
passive is that he can fly
Is that right?
permanently, just like Storm. So same FPS controls, control to move down, space to move up. And he's basically kind of like a Pharah Echo mix. So his primary fire is like this, and it also splashes, as you can see on this man. But all of these projectiles are, you know, somewhat hard to land. They're pretty slow, but as you can see, you don't really need to like aim them that well. So yeah, his shift just makes his launch into like forward direction very fast. But it does have that fuel, as you can see. It doesn't have a cooldown, it's just fuel based, just like Pharah. And when you're in his E, you can basically get empowered abilities. So yeah.
Double KO.
And it also costs the same fuel. Or sorry, it doesn't cost fuel, it just has like a cooldown. You have to be overdrive for that long. So his F is locked unless you're in E or shift mode. So if you're in shift mode, you can launch missiles here, and it basically becomes like a Valkyrie Q from Apex Legends, if you've played that game. So here, let's try it again, and maybe I can actually hit it this time. Here. Yeah, so it's good for like standing and choke and, you know, maybe finishing off the enemies. And yeah, so his right click is going to be a beam. So yeah, it's like complete hit scan obviously, and you can move, but you are slowed down while doing it. Yeah, and it also has some ammo on it. It uses the same ammo as your left click, so managing some ammo would be useful. So maybe if they're like low, you can like E and then like do this. Yeah. So his Q is kind of overtuned, if I say so myself, because you basically can like one-shot anyone with this. So let me actually like kill both of these to demonstrate. So yeah,
I hope Friday got
over
better.
here.
Maximum pulse.
Yeah, so that basically one-shots everyone. It's pretty OP,
That's what happens
right?
when you pick a fight with protons.
Really good for beginners. So he's a great like pub stomper. Very hard to aim up in a third-person
Enemies on
game
approach.
from my experience. So like if you're here, right, and like you're in third person, and like the guy's like over here, right, like this guy. If I'm like just looking at this thing going on, I can't really see what's going on here. So most like beginners would like, you know, see like damage ticks and then look up, but like, you know, you always have to be looking up against the iron. You have to press tab, see what they have, just be looking up, or otherwise you're just gonna roll your team absolutely, right?
Double kill.
So it's good for those beginner lobbies, like especially because like they don't really end up killing you. Let's see. So also, he's a consistent source of damage. Like he can always be spamming basically, and just like get something done, right? Like, you know, just always be spamming.
One step closer to saving the
And
world.
yeah, just like have some consistent sort of damage until you can charge up your Q and then one-shot everyone in the lobby. So you can also like, you know, combo them with like other ults or like other like CCs, which I'll get into later, like with Namor ult. So let's move on to Spider-Man, right? Oh boy, Spider-Man.
It's up to us
right?
to help the people
He
who can't help
is
themselves.
like a one-trick character. You have to one-trick or you're never going to get good at this character. So right there, you could see his passive, where his head glue and my screen slightly shaked. That just indicates that there's enemies nearby, right? And like, you know, if you're not looking at them, like you'll indicate that there's enemies, like this Luna Snow was there. So yeah, that's his passive. His second passive is that he can wall climb, and then he can also wall run. And then yeah, he can also go like side to side like this. Yeah, so that's his passive. He also has a double jump, so that's his third passive, right? A double jump. Yeah, so he kind of needs all of this though, because he is very hard to play and probably like not the best character in the game. He is somewhat similar to Doomfist, but he also has this
Watch
concept
out,
of
they're headed our
marking.
way.
He's a combo character. He has this concept of marking. So he's a full melee. So yeah, his combo is you have to like mark them with your right click, which is a skill shot. It's projectile. You have to like aim this, and as you can see in the middle, you have like this stuff, and then once you mark them, you can pull them with your E. Right. So if they're not marked, right? So say this guy's not marked right here, then he goes towards me, right? And then yeah, I can punch him down or like do my combo, which I'll show you later.
I don't wanna
But if
hit
they
you more
are
than I
marked,
have to.
then I go towards them, and that also does
Fight for the
additional
good
damage.
guys next time.
So his like right click web clusters mark enemies, and then that's basically how your character plays, because you deal increased damage to people that are marked. So you have to be landing these skill shots. His shift is a very fun ability. So this is his shift exactly.
Watch out, they're headed our way.
Yeah, so his shift, like, it requires a bit of one-tricking to get good at. You can definitely do, like, much more cool movement techniques. Like, maybe something like, you know, you can go, like, all around, kind of like Pathfinder zipline from Apex, if you played that again. Yeah, so his E pulls enemies towards, and if they're marked, then you go towards them. His F is an uppercut, which combos very well when you're, you know, next to someone, like this. Right, so E and to F and to like this, right? And
I don't
like
want
that's
to
just
hit you
the
more
weird.
than I have to.
Yeah. So that is kind of the combo there. His Q is basically like Reaper ult.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, so that's his Q.
Spider-Domain
Basically
is
a
not
Reaper
for the
ult
weak.
from Overwatch 1. And actually Overwatch 2, right? He didn't get changed or anything. So yeah. His Q is like good for finishing off enemies, or like, you know, just putting it out there in like the middle of a
Watch
team
out,
fight,
they're headed our
and
way.
just like over time damaging people. So his combo, if you're flanking, right? So let's say you're coming from here, and like, you know, you left shift into this, you land that, and then into his uppercut,
you
and then
went
you move
down
it down.
pretty
So that's
hard.
kind of the combo you're looking for. Obviously much harder said.
Ground and
Much
pound.
harder like done than said, because, you know, landing this is, especially on moving targets, is not easy by any means. So let's see if I can do this again. Yeah, like I just missed it there, right? Yeah, and then also he doesn't really do that much damage even when he's close. So when they're marked, you have to do this, and then like animation cancel and like like just kill them.
He went down pretty hard.
So he would combo very well with other people that can follow up on your dives, like Venom or Magik,
Watch out, they're headed our
or
way.
really like anyone that wants to like dive with you, because he doesn't really have much burst damage himself. He requires one tricking to get good at, because he's really unique character. Like I have not seen a character like this in any game. But I can't really see a situation where he'd be like the best pick, because like you could just go Magik and like do everything better, right? But he's very fun and skill expressive, but he's not good for starters, so don't play him if you're starting out, in my opinion. You might see those Necros clips because he's like rank 1 like Spider-Man right now or something, but yeah, it actually takes a bit of skill to pull this off. So let's move on to Scarlet Witch. So Scarlet Witch is kind of the Moira of this game. Like you don't need to like fully aim, like as you can see my crosshair's there, but like he's like taking damage over here, right? So it is low burst damage, but it is like it is low like not burst damage, but yeah, it is consistent damage, which is what beginners want, right? So her right click, it consumes one of these like 4 orbs and is more of a bursty damage. So most good Moiras, good Scarlet Witches will like combo between this and then like use it to recharge their ability. So this is right click, and then if I wanted more right clicks, then I have to like do left click. So that's kind of like how you play this character. So her shift enters a full 3-dimensional, thing, and then if you hold space, you can fall slowly. But I don't really ever recommend falling slowly in FPS. You're just a sitting duck. You can't really do anything. But yeah. So her E stuns enemies over time. So if I E and then press E again, then it just stuns them over time, right? So you have to press E twice though. That's the thing about it. Like you can activate it whenever, but you do have to press it twice.
You're not going anywhere.
Actually, it just auto detonates. So yeah, if you want it to detonate immediately, you have to cast it twice. But yeah, her right click, burst damage, and then you can charge it up again, and then shift up, get out, and like stun, silent fight. And yeah, her Q is also just like Iron Man Q, just does a bunch of burst damage. Yeah, so that killed 4 people. That actually killed 4 people. Actually, 5. Yeah, 5. Because like this guy was alive too. Yeah, so you don't have to like aim it. It just like hits around you. So they really need to focus you down before you hit that, because it's really useful in team fights. You just don't know where it came from. So overall, she's good for noob stomping. Like her Q's really good, and then like they can't really hit you when you're strafing with without having really to aim with your left click. And then yeah, she's good for beginners, and she has consistent damage, which is really what matters. So I've like seen games being carried by this character, and she really fits into most comps, but I could see her being used more in Brawl, where she can get close enough to use this ability without having to rely on this too much. So let's move on to the next one, Star-Lord. So this guy's like a Tracer and Reaper combo. So you have hit scan primary fire, 40 ammo, exactly the same as Tracer, right? And yeah.
Wow, 4 in a row. 5. This is amazing. 6 in a row.
So that's your primary fire, and then your E is a Reaper ult. So like say this, and then right. So your E is a Reaper ult on 8-second cooldown. I don't really know why it exists, but it does. And then your M2, your right click, is a 3D blink. So I can blink forward, I can blink back, I can blink like side forward like this, right? Yeah, so I can really blink in like all sorts of directions in a third-person game, not just constrained to X and Y axis like it was in Overwatch with Tracer, right? So your shift is just like a dash out, so pretty good for escaping after like a failed dive or maybe a successful dive, I don't know. And then yeah, like I said, E is Reaper. Does quite a lot of damage, right? So yeah.
Double kill.
And then his Q, right? His Q is just he flies and gains super ult.
That's 3. Wow, 4 in a row.
But it does not critically strike like you can here.
5.
So yeah.
That's amazing. 6 in a row. Way to go.
Overall, like he's really good with dive and brawl comps, I'd say. If you can set up a successful flank, he synergizes really well with Adam Warlock because his Adam Warlock's team up passive with him is that he also gains a revive. So like say I die trying to flank this, I can just revive and flank him again, right? He wasted like a cooldown for me, or he wasted like an ult for me, I can just dive him again. Right, so it's pretty good. Great for disrupting team fights and like being pesky overall. So like any good diver character. Finally, let's move on to Namor, or Namor. I don't really know how to pronounce his name. He is like the Torbjorn of
Now
Rivals.
is the time to strike.
So he has his turrets on E,
Denizens of the deep.
and they target whoever, right? But they do go away after a while. So they're pretty short cooldown. It's not they can also be destroyed, but they go away on their own. So how you control these turrets is by using right click. So you can have up to 2 turrets at a time. They're both shooting this guy. Oh, sorry. Now both of them are shooting him. Right? Both of them are shooting. So whoever you right click is basically going to be like shifted to target. And I'm right clicking him is gonna shift to this. Yeah. So you can have up to 2 turrets, like I said. So pretty good damage if you can land or find good spots for the turrets. His shift basically allows him to get a 360-degree shield and move around. And then you can left shift to cancel. Excuse me. So yeah, good for repositioning safely. But you can also just like, you know, like do that and like maybe get a turret on high ground, get another turret, and then like, you know, both of the turrets do the same targets, and then kill the same target.
The fools.
So his Q is pretty strong because it disables movement. So let me actually cast it on this guy, which is moving. Yeah, so he can't move, and it also does burst damage. So it's good to combo with like maybe a Venom ult or an Iron Man ult or a Scarlet ult, because you know those also do burst damage and just like kill you immediately. So overall, he's a good character due to consistent hard-hitting damage, but his primary fire is pretty hard to aim. Like you have to like it's a pretty slow projectile. So don't expect to like be killing Iron Mans with this for sure. Like anyone like further away. But overall, he's good. And also his like right click is a pretty hard to land skill shot for the most part, unless you're just aiming it on tanks, which I guess he can burst down pretty easily with his. So yeah, pretty consistent damage here, but he does require good turret placement and can carry in snowball games. I've seen it happen, but you have to play pretty correctly. He is good in bunker comps, but you have to be able to aim, like I said. So not the best, but not the worst either, for sure. Pretty good, fun character if you like that type of playstyle. So that is actually all the DPS characters in Marvel Rivals Open Beta Test. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna see you guys next time. Cybertron Laser out.